Role of tribal uprising in freedom struggle. Let us begin with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. The tribal people have always been the backbone of India's freedom struggle. They have fought bravely against oppression and injustice, and they continue to do so today. The tribal communities have always been very conservative in nature and wanted to retain features of their society. As a result, they were successful in holding on to their distinct form of art and crafts. They helped in the protection of environment with their traditional practices. After colonialism, British made various changes in their way of life and introduced outsiders in their turf. This reduced their status from masters of their lands to laborers and debtors. The uprisings were against the unwelcome interference of the British and discriminatory and exploitative practices towards them. From Birsa Munda to Alluri Sitaram Raju, there are some of the most prominent tribal leaders who partook in the freedom struggle of the nation. Thus, the tribal movements, which are often referred to as Adivasi uprisings, were a vital part of India's Greater Victory War. The causes of tribal or Adivasi uprisings during the colonial rule. There were restrictions that were imposed on the use of forest produce, on shifting agriculture, and on hunting practices. This led to loss of livelihood for the tribals. The tribals' occupation was agriculture, hunting, fishing. With the influx of non-tribals into the traditional regions of the tribals, the practice of settled agriculture was introduced and caused loss of land, making them landless agricultural laborers. Then there was introduction of Forest Acts. The Indian Forest Act of 1865 extended the British colonialism in India and the claim over forests in India. The Indian Forest Act of 1878 divided Indian forests into reserve forests, which were under the government control, protected forests, which were partly under government control, and village forests. However, most became government-controlled reserve forests. Tribal rebellion was a response to the landlords' attempts to impose taxes on traditional use of timber and grazing areas, country traders and moneylenders' exploitation, and limitations on shifting agriculture in forests. Tribal uprisings in India can broadly be classified into three distinct phases. The first phase, which was from 1795 to 1860, included some of the major uprisings like Bhil Rebellion, Kol Uprising, Santhal Rebellion, and Khond Uprising. The second phase was from 1860 to 1920. Some of the prominent uprisings were the Koya Rebellion and the Birsa Munda-led Munda Uprising. Lastly, in the third phase, from 1920 to 1947, it included the Chenchu movement, Rampa Rebellion, and so on. Now let us dig into some of the major uprisings. Starting with Bhil Rebellion, 1822 to 1857. The Bhil tribe owes its origin to the word Bhillu, which means bow. By profession, they were hunter-gatherers and also had expertise in archery. This uprising is one of the first British resistance movements taken up in the country. There are various reasons for the uprising. First, the feudalism and imperialism in Rajputana. Second, the moneylenders who exploited the Bhils economically. Third, they were deprived of the rights to consume the forest products. And fourth, they were deprived of basic amenities. Walter was a British representative who concluded a peace settlement, yet they could not achieve a permanent peace in the hill areas. Its significance is huge as it exploited the potential of the tribes to rebel against external forces and brought awareness among the commons. Pond Uprising, 1837 to 1856. The Khon is a native clan of India who dominatingly inhabited the areas of Orissa and Andhra Pradesh. The outlawing of the Maurya practice, that is, practice of human sacrifice by the British, was the fundamental reason of the uprising. In Orissa, the uprisings took place between 1837 and 1856. The uprisings were led by Chakra Bisoi, also known as Young Raja. Nothing much was the outcome of this unrest. It went down in the history of tribal unrest as a distinctly agrarian unrest. Santhal Uprising, from 1855 to 1856. Santhal Revolt, also referred as Santhal Hul, was the most significant revolt in British India. In 1855, in Jharkhand, the movement took place. The various reasons for the uprising were: in 1793, Lord Cornwallis introduced the permanent settlement in some parts like Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa, and as a result, Santhal lost control over land. Second, they had problem in paying taxes to the zamindars in cash, as the traditional method was the barter system. Subsequently, they fell into the vicious cycle of debts as they borrowed money from the moneylenders at exorbitant rate. Some of the leaders were Kanho Murmu, Sidhu Murmu, and so on. The revolt fostered a sense of unity among the tribes and was seen as the beginning of large wars to free the people from the oppressive British rule. It instilled a feeling of nationalism, which helped in mobilizing the people for the subsequent struggles. Lastly, Rampa Rebellion, which took place between 1922 to 1924. The Rampa Rebellion of 1922 was led by Alluri Sitarama Raju in Godavari Agency of Madras Presidency, British India. It started in August 1922 and ended in May 1924. The revolt was against the Madras Forest Act of 1882, which put restrictions on the movement of tribal communities in the forest land and also prevented them from engaging in traditional Podu agricultural system. Another reason for the uprising was the excessive control of the British over the forest land for building railways. Alluri used guerrilla warfare to fight against them. These were some of the tribal uprisings that played a significant role in India's freedom struggle. There were various impacts of tribal movements on the freedom struggle. The tribal revolts brought into attention that fight for independence was not the task of few leaders, but it was the responsibility of every individual of the country. Revolts also made the British understand the importance of India's cultural diversity and its significance to their people. Revolts showcased the aggression of the tribals against religious conversions and conserved India from losing its cultural identity. The Indian independence movement was one of the historic events that the world had ever witnessed. The remarkable participation of all the people with bravery and fearlessness was a striking characteristic. The contributions of tribal uprisings were worth mentioning. The sacrifices of life of the freedom fighters would always stay unforgettable and eternal in the hearts of every Indian. Here are some of the initiatives that are taken by the government to honor the contributions of the tribal freedom fighters. Thank you.